Hey, Jay.
Hey, buddy.
Jay St. Clair, I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
How's it going?
Yeah, man, if I were any better, I would be Jimmy Smut Means.
Ooh.
About to be inducted into the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway Racetrack Hall of Fame.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you've got to get him on the show.
Oh,
now.
100%. 100%.
And I'll pay to be on that show with you.
Oh, no, you ain't got to pay a thing. You'll be up here. We'll get you up here. So by hook or by crook. I love it.
I've told you I reconnected with one of my childhood buddies who was real big buddies with Jimmy and still is. And so, yeah, he's going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, man. So, yeah, you got to have him on the show.
I am all about it. We will make that happen. There's no question. Everything going well with you, though?
Yeah, everything's good. You know, it's just wet, hot and wet down here.
How is the riprap held up? That's the question.
Well, I've not had a gully washer, but I'm more worried about the physical side effects of the riprap than I am the riprap. By now, all my bruising has sort of migrated down to my ankles.
Uh-oh.
It started up in my thighs and whatever. So I'm doing okay. But then in the meantime, Olivia broke her toe.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So she's been walking around 3-legged, but she'll be all right. She's done.
So official diagnosis, broken toe?
Oh, yeah. No, I had an x-ray.
Oh, no.
And there's that thing to do for it.
The first question that I have for you, Jay, we've got a good amount of things to talk about, and I previewed that you're gonna lay down some sweet Latin on us here in a minute, which I'm very excited about. But 0785 has written in and says, because Cameron Smith is with us, we got a visitor in this, and and Cameron went to Washington and Lee
for undergrad and Alabama law.
And law school at the University of Alabama.
Yeah.
Jay, where'd you go to law school?
Yale.
Jay, where'd you go to law school?
Come on,
that's funny. That's funny. That's a funny.
Always be funny.
Somebody says, 0785 says, it has been my experience that when two IT people get in the same room, they want to have a peeing contest to prove who knows more. Please ask Cameron and Jay if lawyers do the same thing.
No. Well, I can answer that question. Absolutely. The most unbearable situation I was ever in was when we had a partners meeting in my old law firm. We got 50 lawyers in a room, every one of them trying to prove the smartest person in the room.
Amen.
No, it happens every time. Every time.
Well, let me tell you about the Treaty of Versailles and the nuanced aspect. Oh, shut up. Come on, guys.
No, you got that wrong because you're not considering this.
Right. All the time.
Your caller is exactly right. That's a very good analogy.
Well, Jay, let's go ahead and lay down some of this Latin before we get to questions. You can always ask questions of Jay and Cameron, I suppose, at 615-737-9986, but it's still called Fri-Jay, so Jay gets first crack at it.
Yep.
The Latin that you laid down on me during our extensive pre-show meeting was what, Jay?
Well, posse comitatus. And the funniest use of that is in the movie Tank.
Okay. Oh, I remember this one.
I can't tell it on the radio, but posse comitatus, it comes from the Latin, and then actually the derivation of the term is very interesting. It is that it's the power of the county, man. Mm-hmm. That's what it actually translates to from Latin. In Latin. And it's a very old concept, and everybody's maybe familiar with the word posse. Well, posse comitatus, what is that? That's like the really big posse. That's in the old days before there were standing armies or whatever. The sheriff had the power to put, if there's something bad going on, that he would just send out an order for the posse comitatus. And it was like sort of like the early National Guard, really. The National Guard kind of has its origins in that. And so here's the interesting thing about the National Guard and that concept in the laws that prescribe how the federal government can and cannot use the military. In the law, it says, well, the military cannot be used as a posse comitatus. That's what's in the law, Matt, which just tickles me to no end.
Right.
Because it's such an odd phrase, the meaning of which is not self-evident. But what it means is that the federal government cannot use military to enforce local laws, even criminal laws. They can't be the police. You know, if we got invaded, then they can fight a war. But it is illegal to use the military as police.
You know, you've taught me over the years, Jay, that the rub in all of this is that no doesn't always mean no, and illegal doesn't always mean always. And with anything that can never happen, it seems that there are always exceptions.
Yeah, well, it's just one of those things that never happens.
So if that's the case, and you cannot use our United States military to engage in that type of activity, how is it so then that the President of the United States had 700 Marines on the streets of Los Angeles this past week?
Well, the law is a complicated thing. And particularly when it comes to the National Guard, I'll tell you, this is one of the reasons I want to talk about. The National Guard is a fascinating concept, you know, because it's part fish and part fowl. It's part state and part federal. And, yeah, so the general rule is you cannot use the military to enforce local law, even criminal law. But there are occasions when it can be done, very sort of narrow occasions. And that's what all this the fight is about right now. And the question, another subpart of that question is, does the president have to get the permission of the governor when they're going to use that? And, you know, there's times when you do and there are times where you don't. There's a very famous example in Alabama when Kennedy called out the National Guard to integrate the University of Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the same thing happened in Arkansas. And so and that's enforcing local law or United States law. It's not fighting a war. They're just being kind of like the police. So it's a really fascinating thing. It's very nuanced. I'm not going to get off on the details of it because I'll put everybody listening to sleep. But it'll be interesting to see how all this plays out.
Jay St. Clair is here, and lots of questions coming in for Jay. We're excited about that, and so let's get right to them. Let's see, who's been holding along? I think it's Josh in Columbia. Hey, Josh, you're on with Fri-Jay. What's going on, Josh?
Afternoon, how are y'all?
Doing well.
I'm trying to keep this as unmuddled as possible. Essentially, I bought a product in 2022. Sometime after that, it was recalled by the company I bought it from, which they never sent me a recall notice. I checked. I actually reached out to them when the product failed, thinking it was going to be a warranty claim. And it was only then I was told that product had been recalled. I asked for a copy of the recall notice or proof of where they had sent it to me. I have it in writing from them and their customer service that they didn't send it, and they can't provide it to me. The replacement that they offered was less than half the value of what I have bought, and they will not budge.
Well, what is the product, Josh? Josh, what's the product?
It's a paddleboard, actually, believe it or not.
Paddleboard.
A paddleboard? Is it defective? Yeah, can you use it?
Yeah.
Are you having any problems with it, Josh?
It was as a week and a half ago rendered unusable.
But how long were you able to use it?
1 year-ish.
All right. So your question, I guess, is can you get your money back?
I've offered or proposed to them to just refund my money or use the money I've already paid towards something of equal value. They won't do it. The only thing that they want to offer is something that's about half of what I paid.
How much did you pay for it?
And they cannot provide.
Yeah, how much did you pay for it?
All said and done, about $1,300.
$200?
$1,300.
$1,300. You know, Josh, here's what you can do. You can write letters to them and all that kind of stuff. It's not going to get anywhere. This is a perfect way to sue this company. And we have somebody, Matt, I think he sent you a text last week that He and I talked directly offline. He sued the company and won. And so it can be done, Josh, and this is a perfect situation for this. They do not want to fool with you over $1,300. So what I would do is sue them. And are you in Davidson County?
I am in Murray County. This company is located, I believe it's Duval County in Jackson.
Yeah, well,
Florida.
you can sue them in the county where you are. Yeah, just go online, look for Murray County. What is it? Maury? Isn't that how that's spelled?
Right.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so go look for the Murray County General Sessions Court, Josh, and most of their websites are very user-friendly. And it's very simple. I asked this guy how long it took him. He said it was less than 15 minutes. And the filing fee is only $140. You can write them letters and all this kind of stuff. They aren't going to do anything, Josh, because they figure eventually you'll go away. If you sue them, they are not going to fight you over $1,300. You sue them, I'll bet you pigs to polecats, they're going to send you a check for $1,300.
That's kind of what I figured, but I feel better having somebody with legal expertise say that as well.
No, I'm glad you called. It's a perfect call. That's why. Yeah, it's just what I like doing it. Check for the General Sessions Court. You can file it yourself. It's not that hard. The people there are very helpful, particularly there in Murray County. You sue them, and they'll send you a check.
Love it. Thank you, Josh, for the call. We're in the midst of Jay. I wish you could say, Jay, you would love this. Is this is your granddad's cowboy hat, right?
Yes, my granddad's cowboy hat. It is made. Somebody asked me, and I answered them from the American Hat Company in Houston, Texas.
But Jay, you know the King, old 43, Richard Petty.
Right.
It is a dead ringer for one of the King's cowboy.
And I got the black shades on, so between the two.
What'd you say? You're like the love child of Richard Petty and
Chris Farley.
Say, Jay would think that's funny, but Jay doesn't know who Chris Farley is.
Well, you know.
Is that fair, Jay?
Yeah. You're exactly right.
Jay, have you not seen Tommy Boy?
No.
Jay, come on.
No. I love my man, Jay St. Clair. He's the smartest human being on planet Earth. But Jay's knowledge of Jay, what, 82?
Probably about September 8, 1980.
1980
is when I stopped paying attention to popular culture.
It's pretty solid.
Exactly. I'm telling you, it's when I moved into the dormitory at the Yale Law School.
That's where all those Yankees told you had an accent, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Though I didn't have time for popular culture for the next 3 years. And then when I got out of it, popular culture wasn't any good. So I'm stuck in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s.
You were a Kiss man, weren't you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Big time.
Have I ever seen you, showed you the picture of me? We did a Kiss lookalike contest. And so we got the full face makeup and everything. It's great.
Wait a minute. You said there's a picture of this?
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now.
Oh, yeah. I need some of this in my life.
We need to see that. Yes, actually.
I need a palate cleanser.
One of my favorite books involves Yale. It's William F. Buckley's God and Man at Yale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, when I was up there, the phrase was God, country, and Yale. You would see that a lot around the school. I bet that's not true anymore.
Now it's just Yale.
they skip right over God, country, and just go straight to Yale. Let's talk to as many as we can. Kenny is next up in Lebanon with a question for Jay St. Clair. Hey, Kenny.
Hey, man, thanks for taking my call. So the question I've got is for my son. He here about a month ago, we had storms come through, and he had roof damage. So he called his insurance company to see about doing a claim. And when he did, they told him that he had not had coverage for about a year.
Wow.
Well, his payments are escrowed in with his mortgage, and so the mortgage company is responsible for paying that. Well, they didn't pay it, so the insurance company dropped him, and then they pretty much just washed their hands of it and left him out to dry, no insurance. So he
you're talking about you're talking about the insurance company washed their hands.
Well, the insurance company and the mortgage company, because what had happened was the mortgage company caused it because of lack of payment, is what we found out.
Yeah, but they were taking the money out, but they weren't paying it to the insurance company.
Right.
Yeah, they were stealing from him.
Yeah, that's the way I viewed it.
Yeah,
so
you got a really good client. Yeah.
I said, you need to ask him I said, you need to call them back and ask them, well, if I haven't had insurance for a year, where's all that money? I want my money back.
Right.
So when he called them, then all of a sudden, and he had a letter from them that said that he didn't have insurance, because I told him, I said, get it in writing. And then when he called them back, they told him, they said, oh, no, well, you had insurance, but it was like a gap insurance. It was more expensive. So they changed the story on it.
Well, that didn't make sense because the insurance company is telling you there was no insurance.
Right.
But So what's your question, Kenny? Tell me what I can do to help you.
My question is there any kind of legal recourse for this? Because, he's missed time from work. He has been stressed out over it and worried about the mortgage company just calling the loan in, because you're required to have insurance.
Well, if they do that, he's about to be rich because it's the mortgage company's fault. I would sue the mortgage company. You can write letters and do all that, Kenny, but people just aren't going to pay attention to that. I would sue them if you were listening earlier, same advice, because this is exactly how it's done, Kenny. Sue them. What county are you in? Or what county is your son in?
Wilson County.
Okay. Well, go online and look for Wilson County General Sessions Court. And they'll have a website there, and they're very user-friendly, and it only costs $140 to file a lawsuit, Kenny. And
that's what we need to get. I'm sorry. Do we need to get an attorney for this?
No, you can handle it. You can absolutely handle it yourself. Any idea how much the insurance payments was a month?
I don't. I'll have to find all that out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just wondering how much money is at issue. How much damage has been done to the roof?
It was during the time the storms came through where there was hail and stuff. He's got some leaks in the house from it. He's got them temporarily at bay, but, the roof's still damaged and nobody's taking. Well,
what he's really owed is the damage to the house. Right. Because if the mistake had not have been made, he would still pay the insurance. He'd be out that money, but they fixed his roof. And so that's what I would sue him for, is the amount that it would take to fix the roof. Then the other thing he needs to do is he needs to get insurance. Has he got insurance now with anybody?
He does now. Of course, it went, it's higher now because he's been dropped and everybody, it took an act of Congress and God to get insurance because. Well,
then I'd sue him for the increased premiums too. Is the insurance still being taken out by the mortgage company?
I think it's going to be, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'd sue him for that too. So he absolutely has recourse. You have a good claim. Look for the Wilson County General Sessions Court. It's very user friendly. It's pretty easy. If you have any questions along the way, you can find me on the internet. My phone number, I'm at Littler Mendelson. That's the name of the law firm. Just reach out to me there, call me, or send me an email. I'll be glad to help you.
Yeah, anybody that and Kenny, anybody that types JAYSTCLAIR, you type that on the internet and you'll see Jay St. Clair.
Okay.
Yep.
I have one last quick question.
Yeah, we got to go quick because I got a lot of folks, Kenny. I don't want to.
It's very quick. They sent him a $1,200 check from out of nowhere with no explanation. Should he not cash that?
No, I'd go ahead and cash it. Damage has been done. They realize they've made a mistake, but I don't think, so long as it doesn't say on there, satisfied at full and final satisfaction or paid in full, look down on the memo part of it, Kenny. If they put anything like that on there, don't cash it. But if it's a check and it doesn't have anything like in full and final satisfaction or for release of all claims, and as they realize that they've stolen from it, basically. The $1,200 is the insurance they took out, and they didn't pay to the insurance company. So, yep. But, it's okay to cash it so long as it doesn't have words like that on it.
Okay, thank you so much, man. We've been struggling to get help. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenny.
Yes, sir.
Man, oh, man. Jay, you're so good. Bill is next up in Murfreesboro. Bill's got a question for Jay St. Clair.
Yes, sir, Jay. I'm curious about something. This garbage they brought back from El Salvador, one of the charges against him is that he trafficked people over state lines. Can he use as a loophole defense that he drove to the end of the state line, they get out of his vehicle, drove to the other state on the other side, and they walked across and got in his car again, so they can't say he trafficked them over state line?
No, the law, no, that doesn't work.
Okay, what are you saying? I'm curious whether he could use that or not.
No, he's moving across state lines. The law's clever enough not to get tricked like that, Bill.
Okay.
He's got a problem.
Bill, thank you for the Bill. Are you still there? Yeah, Bill, thank you for the call. I'm trying to get to as many as I can. I apologize for rushing anybody. I just try to get to as many questions as we can with our guy, Jay St. Clair. Jerry is next. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, I don't expect you to know the answer to this, but you being in the circle, maybe you might or hear something. Why is it that it's always the justices that are appointed by Republicans that always start to, like, flip and act like communists and vote that way? I mean, why isn't it ever the other way around? Did you ever hear anything, or is it they have the goods on them and they force them to vote a certain way?
No, nobody's forced them to do anything, Jerry. They're all full-grown adults, and they're making their own decisions. You know, it's something that's been talked about for decades, and I don't know what the phenomenon is, and I've talked to some judges about it, but it's been noticed by a lot of people, Jerry, that when people become judges, over time, they tend to get more liberal. They almost never get more conservative. And why that is, no one really knows, Jerry, but it is an observable fact.
Well, and I think there's a lot of theories, Jay. I mean, I know I have some. I mean, I just feel like it's human nature. That
a little bit of public pressure, maybe.
Well, pressure and just exercise of power, right? Is that if I'm in a position of power, if I defer that power to someone else, I'm not. I just think there's a psychological component to the exercise of power. And I think it leans toward becoming more liberal in terms of interpretation of the law. But you've heard me say for years, and I know that, Jay, you and I have talked about it for years, I mean, since we first met, that the most conservative a judge is ever going to be is the day they get appointed to the court.
Who was it, Churchill, that said that if you're not a liberal when you're 20, you don't have a heart? But if you aren't a conservative when you're 50, you don't have a brain.
That's exactly right.
I think it was Churchill.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think it's pretty fair.
Pretty sure that was Churchill, too.
Yeah, it's Churchill. Yeah. Jerry, thank you for the call. It's a little more of a psychological question, but I got the pick, Jay. I got the pick.
Who is that?
I don't know. If I squint, it looks like your kid. It looks like a
The 1970s was a great time to be a teenager.
Can I post this picture?
Absolutely.
Can I read the last text you sent me?
Yeah,
well, it's true. You said my eyes look a little bloodshot.
Well, man.
And people are wanting to guess which character from Kiss you are, and I would tell them, but I don't know which one this is. So
yeah, it wasn't Ace Frehley. I think it may be Ace Frehley. Well, it's not Gene Simmons, and it's not the Paul Stanley. It's the guy that had the stars on the eye, and the makeup's great.
That is good makeup. I'll give you that. All right, I'm posting it up.
Okay,
I'm getting it done. Thank you, Jay, for everything. We appreciate you, brother. You know how much I love you. Be safe this weekend, brother.
Thanks, brother. Same to you.